If you're a developer working for a Washington state agency, you probably know this feeling all too well. A new project kicks off, it's full of potential, but before you can write a single line of code that actually helps the public, you just hit a wall. You get stuck rebuilding the same old foundational pieces, and it's a cycle that can stop innovation right in its tracks. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Your teams, they're hired to build valuable services for the public, but instead, they're forced to spend weeks, sometimes months, building the same complex infrastructure, the digital plumbing, for every single application they create. So what does this challenge actually look like day to day? We're not talking about small headaches here. We're talking about significant recurring costs that hit your budget, your security, and your team's ability to get things done. I bet this list looks painfully familiar. For every new app, you've got to figure out identity. How do you handle state employees on Entra ID and also public users on systems like SAO or WA.gov? You have to build authorization from the ground up. You need to make sure data is totally separate between different divisions, manage all the complex configurations, and build solid logging for audits. And the crazy part is, right now, every single team is solving these exact same problems all on their own. The end result of all this is basically a massive hidden tax on every project. It leads to months of wasted developer time, wildly inconsistent security from one application to the next, and really important projects that get stalled out before they even begin. There just has to be a better way. And you know what? There is. This is where we stop talking about the problem and start talking about the solution. The Riptide platform is designed specifically to provide that standardized, modern foundation so you can finally stop all that repetitive work. Okay, so the platform has two main parts that work together perfectly. On one side, you've got the Riptide Platform SDK. That's a set of libraries for Microsoft's .NET framework that your developers can just plug in to handle all that in-app infrastructure right out of the box. Think of it as the foundation. Then you have the Application Manager. That's your centralized control plane. It lets administrators manage identity, access, and configuration across all your apps, all from one place. So let's dive into the biggest headache first. Identity. Riptide gives you some incredible flexibility here, letting you pick the right identity model for your project right now, and this is the really critical part, you can change it later without having to rewrite your entire application. First up is what we call self-contained mode. This is absolutely perfect for getting things done fast. The application manages its own users totally independent. This means you can get a proof of concept up and running in just a few hours, not weeks. Next, there's single sign-on mode. This is where you connect directly to the state's existing systems. The SDK handles all that complex, secure communication for you, using modern standards like OIDC with providers like Entra ID, SAW, or WA.gov. Your users get the login experience they already know, and your app gets trusted identity. And finally, we have Identity Light Mode. This is by far the most powerful option for agencies that manage a whole portfolio of applications. Your app connects to the central application manager, which then becomes your command center for identity, user roles, and a unified audit trail across every single app. And this right here is the game changer. Moving an application from a simple prototype to a full-blown SSO integration, and then later to a centrally managed system, it's just a configuration change. That's it. The actual application code, the business logic your team poured months into, it stays completely untouched. In Identity Light Mode, the application manager really does become your agency's command center. It can juggle identities from multiple places at once, give you fine-grained control over who can do what, and enforce that critical data separation between your divisions. And it's all managed in one place, with a complete searchable audit trail for everything. All right, let's switch gears and talk about the developer experience, because the whole point of this is to free up your teams to focus on what they do best, writing the business logic that makes your application unique. Just look at this. Instead of writing pages and pages of complex authorization code, a developer just adds this one little attribute. This one line says, hey, only a user with the permits.approve capability can run this piece of code. The SDK takes care of the rest. It is that simple, that clean, and that powerful. And to get you started even faster, the SDK comes with a complete starter application. We call it a do-nothing app. But it's really a fully wired foundation for the kind of data-driven apps, create, read, update, delete, that the state builds all the time. Identity, logging, configuration, it's all hooked up. Your team just grabs the code and can start building valuable features on day one. And the SDK does so much more than just identity. It gives you enterprise-grade logging, performance monitoring right out of the box, easy database connections, and even testing patterns to make sure your code is solid. It's really designed to solve pretty much all of those common problems that slow developers down. And look, this is not some mysterious black box. The SDK is a professional, enterprise-grade tool. It's fully documented, which means your developers get that helpful IntelliSense autocomplete right inside their code editor. It just makes them productive from the word go. And the entire platform is built on a modern, stable, and secure foundation. We're talking .NET 8, the current long-term support release from Microsoft. It supports all the modern authentication standards, and it's built to be deployed with Docker. This is absolutely enterprise-ready. So where do you go from here? It's time to begin your own modernization journey and really accelerate your next project. The goal here is simple. Let your teams focus on the business logic that actually serves the citizens of Washington, not on rebuilding infrastructure that's already been built a dozen times before. So here are a few clear next steps. You can start small just by trying out the SDK on its own in your next project. For bigger, statewide stuff, we definitely recommend talking with WA.gov's DEX program. But honestly, the best first step is always the easiest one. Just start a conversation with us about what your agency needs. We're here, and we're ready to help you figure out exactly how this platform can transform how you build applications. Let's talk. So we'll just leave you with this one last question. What could your team really deliver for the state if your next application could skip those first 3 months of infrastructure work and start creating real value from day one?